Okay, let's see what you got. Ooh, you guys need to know about the Ace of Cups. Love. What about the Ace of Cups do they need to know? Other than starting in the beginning with love, going in, opening their heart to something new. This could also talk about, a pre-existing relationship, but looking at an emotional aspect a little differently. Such a beautiful card. I just wish it wasn't so bright that you guys can't see it, but yeah, there you go. But the Ace of Cups, y'all. Why is the Ace of Cups coming out for Cancer? Because the Three of Coins. Why is the Three of Coins coming out for the Ace of Cups? The Emperor. Oh, I get it. So the Ace of Cups is to talk about, yes, emotional growth, but I think it's also talking about being more passive. Now, it's interesting that this card comes up because it's not necessarily about being more passive, but it's also about knowing your power, being aware of your power, and being willing to surrender that power when it need be, right? It could also, to me, indicate, figuring out what it is that you want. What is it that you are truly desire? Because the Ace of Cups can also mean that too, right? Just like the Page of Cups, right? Page of Cups does mean a desired outcome, or just, excuse me, not a desired outcome, but your dream, what you want, right? It's a cultivation of it. It may not be like the ultimate dream, like the Ace of Cups, but it's softer. And this one is talking about the ultimate dream. At least the dream that will, inspire you to take action and go for it. And for some of you guys are just starting to understand, or starting to look at what that desire is, because you have the Three of Coins there. Now, the Three of Coins, as we all know, talks about the future, talks about planning for the future, seeing if there's a future to be gained from the situation that you're in, right? Seeing what needs to be done, how to strategizing, what steps need to be taken for a certain outcome to be had, right? So, from what the situation is looking like, there is a lot of weight on something that you've been wanting, Cancer, and there's plans and steps ahead to do it. And I don't think you're doing this alone. I feel like you're doing this with another person. I feel like you have a good group around you that's willing to work with you into a direction that requires you to be more emotionally open. Okay? Now, the stubbornness is definitely coming in here, because I think at this one point you guys have kind of closed the things off. Or maybe you've been intimidated by someone, or intimidated by your circumstance, and you had to kind of put on a brave face and kind of ignore those emotions for a while. But this is now your time to allow yourself to be emotionally open and to experience love, experience some sort of emotion, to start that journey in which you've put off for a while, perhaps. What's brought the Ace of Cups along for Cancer? What's made Cancer decide to look at the Ace of Cups now? What's made Cancer decide to look at the Ace of Cups now? That's a good question, right, y'all? What's made Cancer decide to look at the Ace of Cups now? What's made Cancer decide to look at the Ace of Cups now? Okay. Because you feel ready. I think you guys have been through enough BS to know that you can handle the next chapter, okay? The Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands, I always see this as the Five of Wands, but advanced, right? You're the step above the rest of the wands. You're standing above the conflict. And I always feel like with the Seven of Wands, how it's representing itself is that you have overcome enough conflict to know exactly what you can and what you can't do, or what you're willing and what you're not willing to do in that circumstance. But it's also standing your ground in situations that that people constantly test, right? So for a lot of us, it could be that a certain career that we're after, and maybe you have our parents telling us that we need to be doctors, we need to be scientists, we need to be lawyers, and you have to stand your ground on this, because not only do you have a real group of people here that's willing to help you get to where you want to be, but you also have individuals that are telling you to do something else because they want to protect you. But you only know what's right for you, and that's where the stubbornness, I believe, does come in for you. Stubbornness to continue to go towards what you truly desire and go towards who you truly love, because people that are only doing their best to protect you. Because I feel like when it comes to the emperor is very difficult, very harsh, can be harsh, very stern and very disciplinarian, because he's the father, right? He is only looking out for the best interest of his people, looking out for the only best interest of his kingdom. Think of, and I see the emperor, and it's really weird to see the emperor as some sort of family card, but I see him as the disciplinary, the harsh truth, the harsh truths of, of our families. A lot of times, that part of our families that make, that have all those rules, that have all those standards, that have all those things, they represent the emperor to me. Because without those structures, without those, non-compromising, unwavering rules, there would be no safety. There would be no safety net. And you guys are challenging that now. And I feel like you're challenging that with the people that truly see you for who you are and want you to be happy. Because here's the thing, I don't see any difference between the Three of Pentacles and the Emperor. Because everybody is truly wanting to get you to be happy. But they also want you to be safe, which is why you have people who are willing to put themselves on the line to help you. And that's why you also have people standing against you. That's what it feels like. But these people truly are not there to be against you. I think they do it because they want to protect you. Something about protection is a big thing here. Okay, the Emperor in the Seven of Wands, that's defensive because of something that they have serious pride in, something that they protect, something that's theirs. And I feel like with this kind of combination, there's people around you that want to work with you, but then there's people around you that are trying to protect you from hurting yourself. But they don't know any better than you know about a situation, about anything. So you have to trust yourself. You have to believe that what path you're going is the best path for you, because their path is the path that they went on, and it may not have worked out for them. But nobody is cookie cutter, especially not you. You are special. You're different, and you can experience anything you want to experience with the understanding that there is certain pitfalls or different advantages that you may have from different people that have gone through the same thing, but you have to experience it the way you experience it, which is why the 7 of Wands is coming up. You have to find the uniqueness and stand by that uniqueness against all odds, against every odd. And not to treat it like it's people that's trying to stand in your way, trying to knock you down, trying to make you, that's trying to get the best of you. It's not. I don't feel it like this. Sometimes it could be, but I don't think it's this case. I feel like it's more someone a little more intimate, and the reason, and that for that reason, right? You can't see it as someone trying to knock you down and not make you, trying to keep you from being happy. These are people I feel like are trying to keep you safe. I'll even clarify that. Why is the 7 of Wands coming up? Okay, 6 of Wands. 6 of Swords, rather. 6 of Swords is coming up for the 7 of Wands immediately as I started shuffling. So, the reason why the 7 of Wands is coming up like this is because of the 6 of Swords. Moving on, going through new pastures. Standing your ground in regards to the changes that you're going to be making in your life. And it may be hard to carry those changes out because it's, this is something that you're used to. Either something that you're used to, things won't be the same, but you have new horizons, you have new things to experience. And standing where you are, keeping from experiencing those things because it protects everybody else's fears and insecurities, it doesn't make you grow any bigger. It doesn't make you grow any better. So I think that's what's going on. It's like standing your ground in regards to where you're going. Even if you don't know yourself, at least it's in some sort of direction. And it's moving on and giving appreciation for the past, or giving appreciation for what you've been through and what these people are showing you, and what these people are trying to instill in you and keep you from doing. And truly keep those in mind as you continue to travel your life, right? As you continue to journey. How is this affecting their love life specifically? How is this affecting their love life specifically? How is it affecting Cancer's love life specifically? How is it affecting Cancer's love life specifically? How is it affecting Cancer's love life specifically? Okay, the Seven of Swords. I like it. Why is the Seven of Swords coming up for why the Ace of Cups and their relationships with people affecting their love lives? Eight of Wands. Going for it. Some of you may have to do this by yourself before announcing it first. I think that the situation is that you kind of how does this affecting your love life? Well, you're taking the steps in a very sneaky manner. You're not necessarily keeping this, it's not like an affair or anything, but I do feel like this is something that you're keeping to yourself for a little bit. You're not necessarily going to out and say everything yet until you know where you're going, until you know what's up, until things are clear. Right now, the Seven of Swords is very opposite, in my opinion, to the Eight of Wands, because the Seven of Swords is sneaky. Yes, it's in the shadows. You don't see everything quite clearly, right? This is why it's a risk, because you don't know if you're going to be coming, or if you don't know if whatever you're going to do, you're going to be coming out the same. You don't know if you're going to be doing anything the way that you expect things to go or want things to go, because the Seven of Swords is a risk, while the Eight of Wands is clear. It's things are happening. There's no confusion. There's no anything, right? And lovingly, it's a progression from the 7 to the 8. I like that, because this tells me that there is some things that you're going for, and it does require maybe this starts by you falling in love, but keeping it to yourself, or going after something and doing it in a way that gets you the experience that you need, but it doesn't necessarily put the spotlight on you. Right now, it's almost like you kind of want to do something on your own a little bit first before you announce it to everybody. Something's like, because of the Seven of Swords, it's almost like you're trying to keep something to yourself, or the best thing to do right now is to keep it to yourself. Not saying that you can't trust anybody, but before you insert any, get someone else's opinions or thoughts, or have them involved in your shit, because that's how it always works, right? No matter what you do, no matter how you do things, people always get involved. So I feel like the best way to kind of experience what you want to experience is by doing it yourself without letting anybody know, unless of course this involves people that are willing to work with you. Right? If the people are there to work with you, I don't think that's too much of an issue with communicating what you're doing to them. But I feel like the best way to do it, the best option, perhaps, is to just keep it to yourself for right now and do what you want to do. Not let anybody necessarily know what you're up to, but but if they ask, it's not necessarily something that you should be ashamed to say. Especially if you're trying to find pride in what you're trying to do anyway. If you can't be prideful and do it in people's faces, figure out what why you don't have it, and then apply it, right? But I kind of feel like for this situation, right, it's affecting your love life in a way where you have to kind of be cautious, or you have to be, it's best to be more reclusive, or not reclusive, but just kind of keeping it to yourself, being a little sneaky, just doing it on your own first without actually having to divulge any business of your own. Okay, so just kind of figuring things out on your own and then riding that wave, right? So like I said, it could be career wise, just going down a path, and if you love it, then go for it. If you don't love it, then nobody knows that it wasn't exactly all that cracked up to be. Nobody has any invested interest in what's going on in your life. What is the outcome for Cancer regarding the situation? This could even be for love, right? If you're trying to see how things are in your life, and maybe you may have some sort of idea if maybe your preferences may be different than said person, how the family treats certain things, right? For instance, if you're bisexual or gay, you don't have to let anybody know that you're dating somebody or doing anything like that. It's cool to have conversations and get more information about it, but you don't have to out yourself. You don't have to express, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to let anybody know that you're bi-curious or whatever. If you're having preferences, if your preferences are changing, if your idea of life changes, if your sort of style of relationships changing, like, it doesn't have to be just sexual preference. It doesn't have to be your sex in general. It could be that you may think you're monogamous, but then you are okay with polygamy, right? It could be all those different things that pop up, but All of this is going to require you to take time for yourself to figure out and experiment and see if those are exactly some things that, you know, if those apply to you. So what is the outcome for Cancer? What is the outcome for Cancer? What is the outcome for Cancer for me? What's the outcome for Cancer for me? What's the outcome for Cancer? 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 The Ace of Cups. The Page of Cups, rather. It's interesting. You have the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups. I love it. And the Ten of Wands. Dropping that burden. Letting something be. You know? And I feel like the outcome with the Page of Cups is that there is maybe some offer of love. Some sort of, something that you hold close and dear to you. Something that's precious to you. But it's something that's yours. Something that's, that you nurture, you take care of, and you grow. And you spend time to understand and nurture it and to raise it into something beautiful. And I feel like that's the Ace of Cups there. But the Ace of Cups, Page of Cups is usually the smaller version of the Ace of Cups. But it's definitely, I feel like this is somebody either expressing their heart to you or you expressing their heart to them. You going after the dream career that you want, and starting to understand it, starting to learn it more. But you no longer hold the burdens of what other people's interests may be. You go after what it is that you want. If you're tired of hearing other people's side of the story, you don't know if people are really on your side or if there's people against you because they want to protect you, but perhaps you just have to take that journey solo. You have to do something where you have to understand that path solo and understand what you love, why you love it a lot more, and start to understand what that love is and see if it's that career, if it's that love interest, if that's the style of relationship you want to be in. And, experiment until you get the right cup, until you get the right thing, right? It's exciting. All right, so let's take a look at your messenger oracle. What does Cancer need to hear from the messenger oracle for this reading? Wow, okay. So you got two cards. We are all connected and let go of the old. Now, we are all connected talks about everything happens for a reason, everything happens for a purpose. There's nothing nothing exists without the other. And if you're finding coincidences in situations, it could be because there's something that's tying you to something that's going to happen later on, or it's more so like if you find these coincidences in your life that wrap pretty darn coincidentally together, it could lead you down a certain path, right? Everything is connected. Everything's, pushing you towards a certain goal, or, you are pushing yourself to a certain area in your life to look at. And all those things that you interact with, everything that you've been through, could be that it's connecting you to what your desire is, or what your destiny is. And your destiny is your destiny is determined by you. So you have to kind of allow, which is the Ace of Cups here, allow those, those understandings, those lessons in to understand what is bringing you to, I think. So with the let go of the old card, is not letting go of the traditions, the old ways of thinking, the old ways of believing, seeing things. If they aren't working for you, they are not for you to adopt. You have to let that be. And a lot of the times we may hold on to those old ways of being, though, those old commitments, those old, things, because it's easier, it's less risky, and it's just something that we're used to. It's familiar, it's safe, right? And I think the biggest thing is that for some of you guys really want to try something new. You guys want to experiment. You guys want to have fun. You guys want to explore. And it's scary, but I feel like you guys are coming a little bit out of that, that crab shell of yours and starting to travel a little bit further out into destinations that you've always wondered about. And you have everything that you need. Don't let the old taint your future. Let the old be the the wonderful lessons that you can use for any sort of hiccups that come up in the future. But don't let it taint it. Don't let it keep you from going and desiring something that you've always wanted to experience. Okay. So let's take a look at the wisdom of the oracle. See what you guys got here. It's been a second since I pulled these cards. So let's see what I've got for you guys regarding the wisdom of the oracle. Never-ending story. And that means that talks about breaking patterns. Okay, that talks about breaking patterns. Let me go ahead and quickly glance, because a lot of times situations will consistently repeat itself unless we do something differently. Okay, and that requires to put our foot down a lot of times. It's hard to do, but it's definitely something that was worth doing. Okay. So self-criticism, the wounded ego, and unnecessary dramas. I'm gonna read you the oracle message. Shit. This is a story woven through the imperfect fabric of life that tells us of pain and loss, rejection and humiliation, self-loathing and arrogance, and all manners of suffering born of unnecessary dramas. It's the old story whose refrain is that you cannot do this, you must not go there, you should not say that. Like I said, people trying to protect you, right? Lest your world come crumbling down. Today, know that none of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that got you stuck in a lie, wants to protect you, and needs to be seen as a victim. Love that lost part of yourself. Fear is all that it knows. Distort guidance. Distorted guidance is preventing you from being true to yourself. You are not your story. And the narrative is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed. See what I'm saying? That's exactly what I was just saying, that with let go of the old. Don't let the past taint the future. Don't let old failures, old humiliations, don't let your family even keep you from doing what you feel you're allowed to do. Because they are not you that's living your life. You are living your life. They've lived their life. They've gone through those experiences. They've heard things, right? But again, you don't have any business soothing anyone's insecurities or doubts. You have to focus on what you need. And that sometimes means that that person has to just live with that sort of change. And that even means that you have to live with that sort of change. Especially if you realize that this is keeping you from being happy